Hello and welcome to another podcast episode. My name is Mariana, and as you might know, I'm an expat coach. So I'm really here with this podcast with every single thing I create. I want to help you in your journey just as much as I wish I had help before. If I can speak, that I wish I would have had this help before when I first moved. And one thing that is so common is moving abroad for a job and not even knowing is it going to be what I expect. And honestly, I have met so many people that they moved and the job was not what they expected. And I wanted to talk to you about this. Today is really all about what can you do when your job is not what you were looking for and how can you manage it if you can't leave it at that same time. Now, I want to warn you. This is a very practical episode, so I would really encourage you to have somewhere to write down your answer. So, are you ready to get started? I have moved twice for jobs as an expat. First, I moved to Edinburgh back in 2018, and then I moved to Switzerland in 2019 to Geneva. And both were in the pharmaceutical world. And sometimes I would ask myself, even if I didn't like it, how long would I want to do it for, to try it for? What would be the deal breakers for me that I would really think to myself, I want to leave like almost immediately? What would be the acceptable things in the short term and in the long term? And if I needed to find another job, what would I do? Would I want to stay in the same country? Would I be open to moving anywhere, or would I simply just want to go back to my home country? Because sometimes we are just thrown off your our feet. I think that is the expression, right? And we just feel like the floor is not there anymore. We feel really overwhelmed because we might not have reflected about it before. We might not have really asked ourselves, okay, if this happens, what will I do? And the more that we ask ourselves these questions, because the future is so uncertain, the more that we feel a bit more of confidence, a bit more of trust that even if it doesn't go in a way that we would hope for, we still know that we have our own back. And these questions for any big changes in our own lives will make us feel more prepared and even safer. And the safer that your brain feels, the calmer you are going to feel, and the more clearer you are going to be around what you want to do next. And going back to it, honestly, around all of those questions that I just told you, it would depend. If I was at a horrible job for my mental health, I might start looking for something else like straight away. If it was simply a demanding job and I used to be really, really perfectionist, which is something I always work on. So, hello to fellow perfectionists out there. You can always change it. I want you to know that. It's not like a trace that will forever be with you, but that is a side note for anyone that is listening that you think, oh, I'm just this way. You are this way now. You can change in the future. And let's say I was insecure because I didn't really know how to do the tasks. And if I felt that the quality wasn't there, then it would be frustrating. Honestly, I would give myself the time to learn the needed skills and see how I would feel once I knew them. And if it was because the working hours were insane, I would see if it would be possible to put some boundaries up, because sometimes we forget that we can ask. I know it depends on the managers, it depends on the environment, on the team, on the company. But sometimes, if we ask, if we share how we are feeling, if we put some boundaries around, okay, I can only do meetings until this time, or okay, I'm feeling overwhelmed, maybe I need to take a step back. Sometimes people are more open to talking about it than we think. And sometimes we assume that we know what people will say, but no one has told us that that is how they would react. So it is really about having really uncomfortable conversations, and that can really change the outcome of things in everything, not only in work, like in every single thing. In relationships, it applies as well. So I'm giving you all of these examples because the truth is, it depends. So, first of all, my name is Mariana and I'm an expat coach, like I said, a neuro coach for expats to help you creating a life that you want, where you feel like you are yourself, where you feel like you can have fun moments, where you feel that you can have like moments that feel aligned with you, where you feel that you spend time in a way that really that you love and you love your life abroad no matter where it is. That's really my goal here and with this business. And today we are talking from a perspective of you have moved somewhere new and maybe your job is not working the way you thought it would. And now you feel lost and you don't really know what to do next. First, let me tell you, unfortunately, like I had just said, this is totally normal. And if you talk with other expats, you'll see that so many of us resonate with it, and you can find support that way. And I always say this because sometimes as new expats, we think that everyone has everything figured out, no one is really struggling, but that's like one of the biggest lies ever. Even if it's not expats, even if like you just look around you, no one has it all figured out. We are figuring it out as we go. And there are so many moments where we feel lost and we simply don't share everything with everyone. And as expats, if you don't really know anyone, you might feel lonely and you might not be sharing that with people that resonate with you. But the more that you find other people that might feel the same way, that you connect through these challenges, you feel that people understand you. You feel that people resonate with you and that after all, you are not alone. And that is one of the most powerful things that you can feel in your life is that you have a community to turn to, is that you have people that understand you. And with this podcast, with the coaching I give, with everything, I want you to see that that is possible for you, even if right now it doesn't feel like it. Now, after that side note, getting back to it, if you're feeling this way, your mind might become completely overwhelmed and thinking about every single possible scenario. And let me guess, this might make you feel stressed, overwhelmed, and even confused about what to do next. You know, I always say this. We always have the answers, even when clients come to me and say, I just want you to help me make a decision, and they think I'll just give them the answer. But what I want you to tell yourself is, I know. I have the power to know what is better for me. It's just sometimes it's just like really covered deep down under a pile of mush that we don't really see the answer because we have so many things covering it up. And that's where coaching can really be helpful to help you figure out what you want, no one else, what you want. But well, many side notes on this episode. And before we move any further, my guess is that if your job is overwhelming right now, you might be stressed in this very moment. So take a minute and take a few deep breaths and pause me if you need. Now, I want you to ask you this. What led you to move to this new country where you are right now? Was it a job? Was it a partner? What were all the reasons why you moved? How do you feel in this country outside of work? How do you feel at work? What do you like about it? What you dislike about it? Because, you know, I'm asking you this because sometimes in our expat life, when we just moved and we don't really have anything besides our work, it's very easy to think that our life is our work and our work is our life and all of that. But when we take a step back and we look at life as a complex thing with a ton of different layers, like our friends, our relationships, our loved ones, our hobbies, our, I don't know, our fun moments, and so on, then we see that even if our work might not be what we expect, there is so much more to life. Now, of course, our work is where usually we spend most of our time. So that's why I created an episode specifically on this. Because it's really important that you find a work where, even if you don't love it, where it doesn't drain you from your own life. Now, I have here something. Take a notebook if you haven't already. Let me ask you this. If you decided to stay in your current work, why would you stay? Now, take a moment to write, pause me. Now, take that answer you just wrote down and ask yourself again, why is that? Now, I want you to do the same thing again with the latest answer. Pause, write it down, and ask yourself the same again. Why is that? You know why I'm asking so many times why? Is because this will allow you to go deeper with your answers, to really uncover your deeper values, to get to why things matter to you, to get to see core values, identity, and if your work is aligned with what you want or not. Now let's do the opposite. If you decided to leave your current work, why would that be? Now take that answer again, you just wrote down, and ask yourself, why is that? Now, I want to, maybe you are expecting this, you to do the same thing with your latest answer. Pause, write it down, and ask yourself the same again, why is that? This exercise will allow you to see that what could be the reasons for staying and what could be the reasons for leaving. If you want to stay, how long do you want to give a chance to this new job to see how you feel? And let's say you have seen you want to leave, you don't know what to do next. The truth is that leaving our job can feel overwhelming, and what I would say is you decide how you want to do it and what works for the needs you have in your own life. If you have financial needs that you need your job for, what other jobs could fulfill those needs? Where could you find them? And how could you apply? And you know what? Even though we are talking about jobs today, I want to point that throughout this entire process, it is important to take a few moments per day. Like I just talked about the complexity of our lives. Like we want to have joyful moments every day, like or almost every day. Because it's so easy to be dragged down into the loop of everything, of overthinking, into the loop of thinking about all what if. And even though our minds will try to convince us, that is productive, I will figure out more things if I just keep on thinking about this, but it isn't. It will increase the stress, will increase the overwhelm, and you won't be able to see the answers that are really, really deep within you. So sometimes what creates the answers that we are looking for is finding ways to disconnect, ways to enjoy our lives outside of our problems. Let me ask you this another question for you. Many questions on this episode. What would be 5 ways in which you could do that? In which you could have fun? What could you do today? Something that would take 2 minutes and that's it. And write it down. So, that is what I had for you today. If you are going through this right now, know that you are not alone and you will find a way towards a job aligned with what you are looking for. And whenever you feel like you don't know what to do next, take another listen to this podcast episode. And if you are listening and thinking, I just want someone to help me with this process, I don't really know, I know the questions are there, but I just feel stressed all the time and I want someone to help me find a new job, I'm here and I'm opening one on one spots for coaching, and it would be my privilege to help you on your journey like it is for every single one of my clients. I know you have your answers and I can help you find them even more. So drop me a DM on Instagram and let's chat. See you next time.